In today's video, we'll discuss the life, legacy, and passing of George Washington, the first President of the United States. Before we begin, please click the link to subscribe to my channel for more engaging content. George Washington was born on February 22nd, 1732, at his family's plantation on Pope's Creek in Westmoreland County, Virginia, to Augustine and Mary Ball Washington. His father was a prominent planter and served as a county court justice. Martha Dandridge Custis Washington is recognized as the first First Lady, although the term was not used until after her death. George and Martha did not have children together, but they raised Martha's two children from her first marriage, Daniel Parke Custis and Frances Parke Custis, along with her grandchildren and several nieces and nephews at Mount Vernon. On April 30th, 1789, George Washington took the oath of office as the first President of the United States from the balcony of Federal Hall in New York City. Notably, he never lived in Washington, D.C., making him the only president to not occupy the White House. Instead, the Washingtons resided in several grand homes in New York and Philadelphia, hosting members of Congress, officials, and dignitaries regularly. In July 1790, Congress passed the Residence Act, establishing the permanent capital along the Potomac River, which would become Washington, D.C. Washington oversaw the construction of what he called the seat of empire, choosing the site for the federal district, the White House, and the Capitol. Even after leaving the presidency in 1797, he remained involved in the project. Washington also set the precedent for a cabinet of advisors, as the Constitution outlined the creation of executive departments. He established the cabinet as trusted advisors to the president, initially comprising 4 members: Secretary of State Thomas Jefferson, Secretary of Treasury Alexander Hamilton, Secretary of War Henry Knox, and Attorney General Edmund Randolph. His cabinet included diverse perspectives, leading to notable debates, especially regarding the National Bank. On May 31st, 1790, Washington signed the Copyright Act of 1790, the first law in the U.S. to protect copyright, securing authors' rights to their works. Concerned about the overwhelming visits faced by previous presidents, Washington organized social events during his presidency, reserving afternoons for public meetings and evenings for dinner parties with invited guests. Washington also formalized Thanksgiving, issuing a proclamation in 1789 that set November 26th as a national day of thanks, recognizing divine care during and after the Revolution. He marked the day by attending services and donating to local debtors. Amid the Whiskey Rebellion in 1794, Washington personally led a militia to restore order against those protesting an excise tax on spirits, demonstrating the federal government's authority. His actions during this crisis strengthened the new government's legitimacy. He vetoed only 2 bills during his presidency, both for ideological reasons, and neither was overturned by Congress. His first veto addressed concerns about the apportionment bill, and the second aimed at maintaining military strength. Washington's letter to the Touro Synagogue in Rhode Island on August 18, 1790, emphasized religious liberty and the government's stance against bigotry, establishing a lasting precedent for religious pluralism in America. His second inaugural address, delivered on March 4, 1793, was remarkably brief, consisting of only 135 words. Washington's farewell address, celebrated for its warnings about political factions and foreign alliances, remains influential in American political discourse. In 1862, President Abraham Lincoln encouraged Americans to commemorate Washington's birthday by reading his farewell address, a tradition continued by the Senate since 1896. George Washington passed away on December 14, 1799, after a brief illness that resulted in significant blood loss. He was buried 4 days later in the family vault at Mount Vernon. Thanks for watching.